It is the radio segment that the New York Post calls girthy. Laser Stories, the segment where we read weird news stories from around the globe, just like every other radio show does, except we have a laser, and those other idiots don't. This first laser story is out of Queens, New York. A 38-year-old guy named Josh Berger just sued the ice cream manufacturer Halo Top for, quote, false, deceptive, and misleading labeling.
What? I've heard a lot of good stuff about Halo.
And
it's all right.
Josh thinks he has a good case because, according to him, he says their light ice cream looks too much like regular ice cream.
I will say I kind of agree with him. The packaging is deceiving. If you didn't know what Halo Top was, I could see how you'd pick it up thinking it was regular ice cream.
It all started when he bought a $7 pint last year.
Whew.
And he found it was harder and less creamy than regular ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that's when he realized it was light ice cream, which made him furious.
How dare you trick me into eating healthier?
I know.
Oh, man.
So instead of just taking the time to read the label, he decided to sue.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Okay.
And it gets better. One of the reasons for suing is because Halo makes him think of the halo over an angel's head, which he pictures as yellow, which makes him think of butter, which makes him think of creaminess.
Oh,
Okay, buddy.
that's
He's
a reach.
really reaching now.
That
yeah.
is a reach.
And Josh wants this to be a class action suit, and he's seeking a minimum of $5 million.
Oh, maybe I could get in on with him. I don't love Halo Top. I'm like, give me real ice cream.
Legal experts say that his case is pretty weak, but we all applaud the man's lawsuit. Hopefully they can get that labeling looking a little more like light ice cream.
And keep away from those butter angels.
This next laser story is out of Kirkholt, Sweden. A 30-year-old woman named Johanna Sandstrom recently had a baby, and she
Awesome.
wanted to honor her little boy by getting his name tattooed on her arm.
Cute.
But when she got home and looked in the mirror, she realized there was a big problem. The tattoo artist had accidentally written Kelvin instead of Kevin.
Oh, no.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
no. So
So-
you make it like a temperature tattoo? Will that work?
She went to a tattoo removal clinic, but when she found out how long and painful the process was, she decided to go a different direction. She and her husband went down to the courthouse and legally changed Kevin's name to Kelvin
Shut
so it
up.
would match the tattoo.
No
Wait.
way.
That's the solution.
So the tattoo artist forced them to
Yeah,
name their child.
so he
Could
named
they
their
just,
baby,
like-
basically.
Couldn't they just put a heart over the L or something? Like anything.
So Joanna rationalized it like this. She said, quote, I've never heard the name Kelvin before, so I thought more about it, and I realized that no one else had that name, and it was unique. Now we think it's much better than Kevin. Sure.
Yeah,
Whatever you have to
right.
do to sleep better at night.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the good news is that Kevin/Kelvin isn't old enough to know the difference. So as far as he knows, when he grows up, he's always been Kelvin.
Oh yeah.
Except when they tell him, they're like, yeah,
How
your
did
name
you
was
get your
actually Kevin,
name?"
but I got a really bad tattoo.
You were a snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This next story is out of Colorado. A few months ago, a 25-year-old guy named Stephen Elmore had a little too much to drink, and he passed out in his apartment. His roommates noticed and used it as an opportunity to draw a bunch of phallic symbols all over his face.
Sucks to be you, man.
That's what happens when you pass out at a party.
Who hasn't done that, right?
Apparently, he passed out pretty early because he woke up around midnight and saw his face and then stormed off.
Oh, yeah. So mad.
Then a few minutes later, he decided to retaliate by setting the garage on fire.
Oh, dude.
Chill, dude.
One of the people who drew on him was the 37-year-old owner of the place, so he was trying to get back at her specifically.
Uh-huh. Guess who's never going to be invited to a party again? Guy
Luckily,
who passes out early and sets garages on fire.
they smelled smoke and got the fire out before it spread, so it only charred the ceiling and nobody got hurt. Well, nobody got hurt. I think his feelings got hurt because he had penises drawn on his face. Police did get involved, and his trial was set a few days ago. The judge described his retaliation as, quote, significantly out of proportion.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Judge.
And he pled guilty to fourth-degree arson. He got a reduced sentence of 2 years probation and also told the court that he's decided to quit drinking.
Yeah.
Good. Sounds like he needs to.
This next laser story is out of the friendly skies. Starting July 1st, ferrets, goats, and hedgehogs can no longer fly American Airlines, even if they're emotional sport animals.
Wait, what? They could in the
Yeah,
first
that's what I'm
place?
saying. Who's bringing a goat on the plane?
Who's bringing a hedgehog?
They're just 3 of a somewhat lengthy list of barred animals the airline has put out in response to an increase in customers transporting support animals on board their aircraft,
Yeah.
which is up more than 40% year to year.
Oh my god.
Here are some of the other ones that you can't bring on the airline, even if it has an emotional support certificate. Frogs, snakes, mice, spiders, chickens, waterfowl, bald eagles or hawks. Really, yeah, no bird should be on a plane. They can fly themselves.
Exactly.
Insects, pet flies, or pet mosquitoes in particular. They actually had
Pet
to put that on
mosquito?
there.
Are you kidding
Who
me?
keeps one of those? It's so tiny.
So it's like, you're telling me I can't bring my electric eel on the plane?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Can I just have one flight where all the animals are on at the same time?
It's like a Noah's Ark
Yeah.
flight.
They also said any animals with tusks, horns, or hooves,
Of course.
excluding miniature horses, trained as
Oh,
service animals
excluding.
because those ones are legit service animals, I guess.
are.
Yeah, they're cute.
And any animal that is unclean / has an odor. Isn't every animal kind of unclean and have an odor?
Well, I mean, they can't get too crazy on that one. There's a lot of humans that would
That's
fall
true.
under that same issue.
Yeah, there's a lot of animals that are way more clean than humans on planes. This next laser story is out of the land of looking good. With the weather getting better, a lot of Americans choose to jog outdoors, but here's a problem. There's a problem with that. If you're taking an hour out of your day to run around the city, you're losing valuable TV time.
That's not really a problem, you guys.
He's got a point.
No.
Well, one new business is stepping up to fill that void. It's a health club in England that's offering a new workout program where you run outside behind a personal trainer, and that person has an iPad strapped to their back.
Stop it.
So if you keep up with them, you can see whatever show you're streaming. So you can still
Oh
run
my
outside and
gosh.
binge watch Netflix at the same time.
This might work.
And you wear wireless headphones so you can listen to what is on the iPad on his back. Plus, you get to feel like a donkey chasing after a carrot on a stick. So that's exciting.
It would make you run faster, though. Like, my Bluetooth isn't connected. Hold on.
There's no word on how popular the new exercise program is, but many fitness experts say it actually might do very well over here in the States. Yeah, I can definitely see it doing well. This next laser story is out of Parenting Central. A new survey of 2,000 people with kids found the average parent only gets 21 minutes of me time a day.
Ain't nobody
got time for that.
I was going to go less than that.
Yeah.
I mean, is it 21 minutes? That's probably your commute home, right?
Well,
No,
moms
for real.
moms get even less, it says. 56% say they get less than 15 minutes of time to themselves each day.
Oh, I did take 15 minutes last night to read a magazine and sit on the couch by myself.
Oh, you like locked the
It was
kids in their room?
no, they were asleep, but it was
Okay.
like literally only 15 minutes after I did all the other stuff.
Here are 3 more stats on how overwhelming it can be to have kids. Stat number 1, parents are so busy they don't always have time to sit down and eat. The average parent eats 156 meals a year standing up.
Really?
Stat number 2, on average, parents feel sick or exhausted 84 days out of the year, but they just have to power through it. Half of parents say it's impossible to completely take a day off from parenting, even when you're not feeling good. And stat number 3, 62% of parents say their own health is a lower priority than their pet's health.
They're pets?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to say kids.
No, apparently pets come before kids, I guess.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
know.
I will say we just dropped a lot of money on our dog to get an x-ray.
Yeah, see, you know what
I
you're
just
talking
forgot.
This next laser story is out of the internet. A new study found that people who wear clothes with luxury logos tend to get better responses when they're asking for something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
So, should you wear them to a job when you're asking somebody out or when you're on the street begging for money? Probably. Yeah.
He just got a big Gucci symbol.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys got some change?
Yeah, are those Gucci flip-flops? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's $200, man. Go get a sandwich. The researchers literally tested all those scenarios, and they found out that it was true. If you are wearing luxury clothing with luxury logos, people are more likely to say yes. They said, quote, a person wearing a luxury brand logo while soliciting charitable donations receives larger contributions than a person not wearing one.
I can kind of see that if you're like have a Louis
Yes.
Vuitton purse
I don't know,
or
though.
something.
I think it depends on the logo. Like, if you meet a guy with a Ferrari jacket on,
Yeah, that's a little
you're
different.
not
You're giving
him
him everything.
anything.
No.
Everything. Take me back to your place. I got a lot of donations for you. They also found larger logos did better than smaller ones. So if you're going to wear a polo t-shirt, make sure it's one with a huge horse across the entire chest. And also one of those little horses in the corner just to make sure they see that polo logo.
Yeah. That survey done by luxury brands who want you to wear their logos.
Exactly. This guy doesn't wear luxury logos. It's because he doesn't need to. He's never wearing anything. He barely even wears that shell most of the time. That's the sound of a turtle humping a shoe, which means that Laser Stories has come to an end for the day. We'll do it again, same time on Friday.